What's up, guys? It's Nico Santana here, Colombian American artist, entrepreneur, creative. Hey, listen, today I'm going to talk to you guys about money. Now, this is a fake money stack, so I don't want you guys blowing up my comments saying, oh, yo, Nico's fake, this and that and the third. I'm using this as a prop, and in fact, you can get yourself a little stack deck on Amazon, which is what I did for the purpose of videos and that sort of thing. You can go ahead and click the link below. I have an affiliate link which will guide you to Amazon, and you can buy yourself a little stack for fun, whatever. So it's not counterfeit money, but today I am going to talk about money, specifically from someone who is completing an MBA in marketing, have taken a lot of accounting and finance courses throughout the years, graduated from UF in advertising and business, University of Florida, for those who don't know. And have had my fair shares of success and failures with business ventures and side hustles that have taught me a lot about money and money management and finances. And so how does that, contrast to my upbringing and understanding and learning of hip hop culture and some of the themes and some of the trends that are really perpetuated in our communities, Black and Brown, Latino, African American, and oftentimes very disenfranchised, marginalized, and underserved communities. So just to give you a little bit of a backstory on myself, I grew up partly in Colombia. I moved to the United States in 1998 at 7 years old. I assimilated to the American culture by way of hip hop culture. I started consuming a lot and learning and understanding not the dialect, but the vernacular, just a lot of the themes that reflected in a lot of this music, stuff that I definitely resonated with and was attracted to, right? As somebody who was basically starting from the bottom and trying to come up. My parents were very faithful people. They were Sunday churchgoers. They were people who were very well educated, came from, I would say, middle class families to a certain extent, somewhat affluent. The point I'm trying to make is that, fortunately I had my base where my family really honed in on the importance of education, learning and being a better asset for your community, being a faithful steward of your resources, right? Somebody who is led by a moral and ethical compass and also wanting to contribute to society in a larger way. So that's kind of the dichotomy that I grew up in. It was very polarizing in a certain sense because I listened to hip hop and the hip hop that I listened to, and I'm not saying all hip hop is like this, was not necessarily the best for approving or emphasizing any of those virtues, but certainly was also a motivator in how I understood and wanted to, build my businesses and learn about money and how to be successful and being a good provider to a degree. So I want to kind of just talk about certain things that I learned from hip hop culture as a musician, as an artist, as a rapper, producer, singer, and that sort of thing, and how I've been able to decipher what's actually true and what's not with my education, an MBA in marketing, business courses, having businesses, and that sort of thing. So let's get into it real quick. So the reason why I have the stack here is cash. Cash is king, cash, money phone. That sort of theme plays out a lot in many hip hop songs that you listen to, even on the radio nowadays. Instagram is a huge platform for people to, to showcase what it is that they really like and enjoy. And you'll see a lot of rappers with these huge money phones and stacks to the freaking ceiling, right? So I wanted to touch on that real quick and just kind of tell you guys about, why I've shifted from that mentality. But needless to say, when I grew up, we didn't have a lot of money. We certainly didn't have stacks of paper like this, real paper, not fake, prop money, hanging around the house or anything like that. But it was definitely something that I gravitated towards because there was a need in my family. There wasn't that financial stability necessarily all the time. So I felt like, hey, maybe when I grow up, I can be that source of financial stability for my family. And I see these guys that are, boasting and gloating about how much money they make. Like, what can I do to really be in that direction? So one thing that I learned is that quick money, it just comes and goes. So that's number one. Quick money comes and goes. A lot of these artists, kind of perpetuate this theme of like, get your money, get it quick, get it easy, whatever, this and that and the third. Some may be alluding to doing it in ways that are illegal. And, we see it time and time and again, that doesn't pay off. In fact, most of those rappers don't make their money that way. Perhaps they associate with themselves with circles of people who do make their money that way, but certainly they try to stay away from it. And you'll hear a lot of these artists saying that, I wanted to move away from that street life because it exposed me to a lot of dangers. It was definitely something that gave me a lot of anxiety. I didn't want to die. I didn't want to end up in jail. So I started doing music, but then the music became the anthem for the streets. And a lot of hip hop documentaries and certainly a lot of artists and rappers will talk about this in interviews where they moved away from that and they were so successful in music because they actually decided to go all in the music and stop messing with the streets. And certainly certain artists did not, and they unfortunately fell back into that lifestyle. Or other people, including athletes, started delving into, that shady businesses and ended up costing them their freedom, their lives, their reputations, and that sort of thing. So definitely not the way that you should do things. But as far as money goes and earning it quick, it's definitely not something that you can earn quick. I've seen it throughout the years that things that are long-term play out for the best. A couple of things that are long-term that have worked for me are education. My MBA has taken about 5 years to complete, and I've done it debt-free. My undergrad, it took me about 3.5 years, and after graduating from college, I didn't have a job offer. I didn't really have anything to go to. So it took me some time to build up my career to eventually get to a place where, hey, I'm making decent money, I have good benefits, and I have the financial freedom and scheduling flexibility to invest into other things like music and whatever else it was that was important to me at the time, family, for example, right? So, it's something that takes a long-term effort, and sometimes we want the quick return, we want the instant gratification, and that's not to be the case. So if people are selling you, especially online on YouTube, these get rich quick schemes and, this person made such and such money, like in this month, like if you buy this course, you can too. Like, it's not how it works, man. It's a lifelong thing. You have to understand and appreciate the journey and take your time with it. There are certain opportunities that are very lucrative, but understand that there's a lot of competition with the more lucrative opportunities, and there's certainly more risk for failure. There's other things that are a little bit safer, but at the same time, the return is not as high, and you may not be making as much money, but you're almost guaranteed to be making a certain amount of money that during that time frame. So that applies with investing, and that's what I wanted to get into my second thing. So the first thing is there's no such thing as easy, quick money. The second thing, or at least long term, you might get it short term, but you certainly risk a lot and perhaps pay negative consequences with that. The second thing is cash. Cash is king is what a lot of people perpetuate in hip hop music. Again, going back to something that I was saying earlier in this video. And investing in the long term is certainly something that can benefit you better than just holding on to cash. Cash is actually what's referred to as a depreciating asset in a sense, right? Rich Dad, Poor Dad talks a lot about liabilities and assets. If you haven't read that book, there's audio books on it as well, or audio versions of it. But it's helpful to understand these principles because what Robert Kiyosaki talks about is that liabilities, which is what he refers to as what the poor mentality is. We buy liabilities, things that suck money away from us, and assets, things that make money for us, right? So think of, a guy that gets paid $100,000 a year, and, the first thing that he does is he buys a $72,000 BMW, on a lease or whatever, on loan. And, now that money that he's making every year is costing him, or the car rather is costing him X amount of dollars per month for his monthly payment on the car. Then you have gas, then you have, insurance and all that sort of thing. Now, perhaps he uses that car to get to and from work and whatever, but either way, it's costing him money. Now, think about it this way. If you bought a $72,000 condo and, he puts it on a mortgage, and so he's paying monthly, let's say, for example, and I'm not doing the math here, but I'm just giving you an example, pays $500 a month, but say he rents it out for $800 a month. So now he's breaking even on the loan and he's making an extra $300 a month. So that would be considered an asset. The first a liability, the second an asset. So that's a little bit more of a complex example, but as far as money goes, because it is something that depreciates at, I think, an inflation rate of about 2 or 3% US currency every single year, if you hold on to your money, that $1, that $100 bill that you're storing is not going to be worth the same. It's not going to have as much purchasing power the following year as it did the year prior. what I would argue is that, keep enough of a cash reserve for 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. And a lot of financial advisors will tell you this. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is just my own personal take on things for entertainment purposes only. But if you have a cash reserve that at least holds you over for maybe at a minimum of 3 months, and you know that you can count on that money being there, then I would say take the rest of the money that you have and either pay. In fact, someone would argue just have $1,000 period on deck, and then whatever extra you have, pay off high interest credit card debt, pay off any high interest loans, and then once you're done there, save the rest and invest the rest, right? So don't hold on to this money, invest it or pay off debt. And then the third thing I would say is that one thing that I would say on a positive, I've said two negatives, but on a positive level that hip hop culture has taught me, that has been affirmed by my studies and kind of just my experience in business, is the importance of taking ownership for your own craft or for your own business or what have you. Just understanding that you are an asset. Once you start learning a lot, I would say give yourself the opportunity to learn in different environments. Give yourself the opportunity to definitely learn skill sets and adapt quickly to an ever-changing market. Technology's changing day by day, you know what I'm saying? So music, I mean, that's even worse. It's more mercurial than it's ever been before. You can't get paid the way that you got paid 5 years ago when it comes to making music. So a lot of artists are adapting to it, and certainly a lot of entrepreneurs are adapting to change really quickly. I would say that the biggest thing for people who have faced unemployment is that they either were too comfortable where they were before, faced a layoff, and now didn't have new skill sets to adapt to so that they could enter into a new market, or perhaps they just they just kind of felt like their skill sets were not worthy of developing. I can't really speak into that, but all I'm saying is that, having kind of an independent mindset where a lot of these rappers talk about, I'm getting my money, I'm doing this, that, and the third. There's a lot of entrepreneurial spirit that helps them navigate, kind of the concrete jungles, I got to get what's mine because no one else is going to hand it to me. And that's something that I really took to heart growing up. So if anything, that positive was that, hey, learn to be independent on your own when the time comes. If you're an employee, certainly take that as a good opportunity to grow and advance your career. And I would even argue that it's important for you to still have skill sets outside of your current employment to make sure that you're on the up and up, you're fresh, you're updated, so that you are competitive in that marketplace and you're not just doing something that's not, that's going to be gone in 5 to 10 years. So hopefully this video helps. I know it's a little bit more informative. In fact, it's probably all over the place and I didn't intend it for it to be like that. I should be a little bit more organized than this when it comes to this type of video. But needless to say, I think it was an important topic to discuss. So if you found this video helpful, and you want to see more videos on this specific topic, whether it's finances or, going to graduate school or hip hop culture in relation to, to actual business and that sort of thing, let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, man, leave a legacy. Nico Santana.
Time to take you sinners to church. Legacy. Luchando por tus sueños.